Have you ever found yourself stuck in a toxic relationship and no matter how hard you try, you just can't leave? And it seems like relationship after relationship, it seems to be the same thing, the same type of relationship over and over. Today, I want to talk about why we attract these types of relationships and how to break free of this cycle. These relationships often leave us feeling alone, unfulfilled, and just exhausted. No matter how hard you try, you just can't seem to get out. And even if you do get out, you just can't seem to get away. You just come back. Somehow you end up back in the relationship. And then the next relationship you get into seems to be the same thing. And then the next one. Relationship after relationship, you see the same toxic pattern. And sometimes you start to think, am I the problem? Is it me? Some common things that we think when we're trying to leave the relationship on why we can't, some surface level things that keep us stuck are, we have all of these memories with this person. Yeah, they're bad, but think about all the good times, which, let's be real, the good times don't outweigh the bad. You think about the future that you guys have built together. We have all these plans, we want to have kids, we want to go on these trips, we want to get married, make all these plans with this person, so you have this future with them. You think about the life that you've already built together, whether it be 4 months or 4 years. Maybe you live together, maybe you have pets together. Even if you don't, you have built a life with them. You have, like I said, memories. You have done things together. You have a life with this person. You have a bond with this person. And sometimes you're just afraid to hurt them. Sometimes, we're really caring and compassionate and we don't want to hurt people. Sometimes us being afraid to hurt people keeps us in these relationships a lot longer than we need to be. Maybe you're even aware that it's toxic, but you're afraid to be alone. A lot of us have codependency issues and we're afraid to be alone. We don't want to be alone. We need to have that other person with us. We feel safer, more secure, better off if we're not alone, even if that means enduring a toxic relationship or emotional mental abuse. Even if it means being in an unhealthy relationship, in our brains, it means, well, at least we're not alone. Or maybe you're staying in this relationship because you're afraid of what's next. If you were to leave, then what? You had this whole life plan built with this person. If you were to leave, what if you have no backup plan? Then what? Starting over with no plan? That can cause a lot of anxiety and be really scary. And that's a huge reason a lot of people stay in these relationships. Maybe you're staying in the relationship because you feel helpless. That's a huge, huge one. A lot of people are stuck in relationships for years, even their entire life, because they feel like there's just no way out. They feel like nobody can help them. They feel like they're not strong enough on their own. They feel like there's just nothing that they can do. They feel like there's no resources to help them. They feel like there is just no way out. So feeling helpless is a huge reason that people stay in these toxic relationships for far too long. And a lot of the times people feel like it's a failure to leave. If you have a family with this person, if you have invested all of your time into this person and you just refuse to give up for so long, it can feel like a failure to leave because you've invested all of this time and effort and energy into this relationship, and now you're walking away after how long of just trying so hard to make it work. When you develop an emotional attachment to a person, you create a version of them in your head that doesn't actually exist. So you create this version in your head of who they are and the things that they could do for you and the things that they could do in general, and this whole other persona in your head of who they are. But that person's not real. And so you're holding on to hope that one day they're going to do all of these things and that they have the capacity to do all of these things. And you're like, I know that person's in there. I know he can do that, or I know she can do that. And you're just hanging on to that, like waiting for the day that they're going to do it. But the problem with this is that day is not going to come because it's something that you fabricated in your mind. And it's like a fairy tale. With that being a made-up version in your mind, this can make it incredibly hard to leave. When you have that hope of them turning into this person you desperately want them to become, and that you truly think in your brain that they could and will become, but in reality, they're never going to. So that can make it really hard to leave. So why is it that we continue to attract these same types of toxic relationships again and again and again, knowing we don't want them? We don't want to be in these toxic relationships. We don't enjoy being sad. We don't enjoy being hurt. We don't enjoy being abused. We don't enjoy any of this. So why again and again and again do we continue to choose these same poor relationships? A huge reason is it stems from our childhood. Like many of our problems in our lives, it stems from our childhood. Even if you grew up with seemingly amazing parents, maybe you have the best parents, maybe you don't. But growing up, especially in the first few years of your life, like you probably don't even still remember them, but you're watching your parents, watching how they interacted with each other. Maybe there was physical violence there. That's a huge red flag for why you have toxic relationships now. But even if there wasn't, even if they loved each other very much, maybe your mom talked super passive aggressively to your dad. That could cause a lot of issues in why you attract, certain types of partners now. If you grew up in a super chaotic home, a lot of yelling, or a lot of, neglect for emotional validation, or, just your parents being really toxic to each other, or your parents being really toxic to you, or your siblings being really toxic to you. If there's a lot of chaos in your home, that's going to make chaos very familiar to you. And when it's familiar to you, it's going to be super normal in your relationship. You're going to seek that out because what's familiar is comfortable. So if you don't have that chaos in your relationship, that relationship will not be comfortable to you. And that's why a lot of people get bored of the nice guy or the nice girl and they liked the crazy ones. So a lot of the times we subconsciously search for these red flags and we ignore them because the chaos and the toxicity is normal to us because of things that we witnessed in childhood or things that became normal to us in childhood. That familiar feeling is something that we grow up craving in relationships to feel normal, quote unquote, as adults. And that's what you're used to as a child in relationships. That's what you're going to grow up to search for in your relationships as an adult. Another thing is if you never learned how to have a healthy bond with somebody, if your bonds were always compromised, if your bonds with people were always conditional, if the bonds that you had with people were not super close, if you didn't have a lot of emotionally close bonds with your immediate close family like your parents or your siblings, and you had toxic bonds or trauma bonds with people growing up, those are going to be normal for you as an adult. Therefore, you're not going to know how to have a healthy bond with somebody. If you didn't learn how to have a healthy bond with somebody when you were young, that's not going to be something normal to you as an adult. Another thing is if you have a lot of unhealed wounds within you, and there's, countless, mother wounds, father wounds, inner child wounds, money wounds, I could go on and on and on. If you have any unhealed wounds within you, if you're not able to truly at least work on healing those wounds, if you are avoiding those wounds, a lot of the times what's going to happen is you are going to attract somebody who's got severe wounds that show, toxic people, and you're going to say, ooh, I can fix them. That's where that whole, people think they can fix somebody comes in, is you're neglecting your wounds that you have. You don't want to work on yourself because it's too painful to look at your own wounds, right? It's too painful to sit, because when you look at your own wounds to fix yourself, you have to look into the trauma that's there. You have to look into what happened. You have to really face what you went through to cause that wound, and that's too painful. So subconsciously you're like, nope, I'm not going to do that, but I can look at your wound and I can help fix you. I can fix you, and you can't fix another person's wounds. Just can't happen. Only they can fix their wounds, and odds are if somebody's, being super toxic, doesn't seem like they're really ready to, so you're just going to get hurt. And that's where this toxic cycle comes in, is you're trying to fix people who you cannot fix. You cannot fix a person like that. So ignoring your wounds to try to fix somebody else is going to get you hurt time and time again. Another thing is this scenario, you tend to have low self-esteem. When you have these wounds, these toxic people feed off of your low self-esteem. They use your low self-esteem to control you. They manipulate you, they gaslight you. They use emotional abuse, mental abuse, even physical abuse to control you, to keep you in the relationship, to keep you coming back, because they know you will keep coming back because you love hard and you don't give up and you're very loyal to a fault, and you will continue to fight for this relationship until they walk away. It's 9 times out of 10 them walking away. You will fight to the very end. This is not your fault. When these toxic people act this way, it's again the wounds within themselves portraying, making them toxic, the wounds that they refuse to heal, and those are the wounds that you're trying to fix because you're ignoring the ones within yourself. So that's just a vicious cycle that doesn't end, and it carries over relationship to relationship. So that's why it's toxic on both ends. So it's not just like the one person being toxic who's hurting you. It is you being toxic in your own ways, even though, you know, you don't feel like the toxic one because you're the one giving. You're like, I'm, you know, doing all of these things for them. I'm doing all these nice gestures and I'm trying so hard and they're just being so abusive to me. You're also doing all these nice things in hopes of getting them to love you and getting them to treat you a certain way, right? So it is a two-way street. Yeah, they're doing a lot more mean things to you. However, it is toxic on both levels if you really dig into it. So what can we do to avoid this, to get out of these situations? Number one is, if you are in this situation, you need to learn that they're not going to change. They're going to keep telling you when you fight that they're going to change. They're not. You need to get out. You need to leave. If it's not safe for you to leave, know that there are resources out there. You are not alone. You need to leave. With that, once you leave, or if you're not any longer in the situation, but you don't want to keep attracting these people, number one is work on your insecurity. Work on being secure within yourself, confident within yourself. Like I said earlier, these people feed off of your insecurity. So if you're secure within yourself, you know, you're taking half the power away from them. They can't control and feed off of you if you are secure within yourself, you know? Get that power back. When you're insecure, you're very small, you're very weak, you're very passive, you're very, okay, you know, whatever you want. They can't feed off of you if you don't give it to them. So work on loving yourself. When you're looking for love in others, this cycle is going to keep happening because you're going to keep doing the same thing, relationship after relationship after relationship. When you love yourself, you know that you're good no matter what. You got yourself no matter what. It doesn't matter if you have a relationship or not. Know that you're okay by yourself. It's okay if you're alone. I was very insecure my entire life. And then I was in my last relationship was 4 years. And I clung on for dear life. I was not letting go. And it was, I did not get treated the way that I wanted to be treated. I did not get treated the way I deserved to be treated. I was put down. I was, you know, insulted constantly. I was emotionally neglected, and the more he was mean to me, the harder that I tried and fought to get more affection. And it's because I didn't love myself. And so when we broke up, that was one of the first things that I learned, was that I didn't love myself. When I started doing practices to learn to love myself, which is, you know, there's a lot of things. Taking care of your body is a huge one. Finding daily practices that work for you. For me, it was yoga and meditation. Things that make your body feel good and not like, you know, oh, junk food's really good, I deserve this or whatever. Not that stuff. Do things that feel good for you. Things that make you look good. If putting on makeup and a nice outfit makes you feel good, do that. If going to the gym makes you feel good, your body looks good, do that. If taking a long hot bath makes you feel good, do that. Love yourself. Whatever self-love looks like for you, you should do that. So number one is love yourself. Number two, don't look at this like the end of the world. Oh my God, what am I going to do? How am I going to have a future now? My whole future was planned out. Trust me, mine was too. If you look at one of my other videos, I talk about this, but I fought so hard to have my family stay together. I was refusing to give up on it, and it was killing me. And finally I let go, and I was like, okay, you know what? This is not okay. And I just let go, and I was like, this rock bottom is my fresh start. This is clean slate. Here we go. Let's replan my future from my own terms. Like, this is where I get to decide what's going to happen in my life. And my life is beautiful now. I am literally creating my dream life in real time, and it is beautiful, and I'm so happy. So don't look at it like, oh my God, my life's falling apart. Even if it is, things have to fall apart to like become beautiful, right? So look at it as you're recreating your new life, and you're recreating the vision of your future. The next thing that you can do is create boundaries and do not break them. Stay firm on your boundaries. It can be really hard because 10 times out of 10, if you're in the situation, boundaries are probably not your strong suit. They were never mine either. But the more that you learn to love yourself, the more that you become empowered, and the more that you practice boundaries, the better that you get at them. You learn that you deserve to have your boundaries respected. Never in my life was I okay with boundaries. Never in my life did I even like have a voice. I never stood up for myself. I never even thought like, Like, I let everybody walk all over me my whole life. I let everybody, and now when I say walk all over me, I mean I had zero backbone. None at all. And so boundaries are seriously the most important thing that you can do for yourself, because if you don't have boundaries, people are going to take advantage of you your entire life. They're going to drain you. Even the people you love are going to subconsciously take advantage of you because they know they can. Because if you have no boundaries, you have no self-respect. Create boundaries. Do not let people even break them once, because if people know they can break your boundaries once, they're going to do it again. So create boundaries, be firm on them, do not break them. Put yourself first. You're first, everyone else is second. Doesn't matter who, you come first, because if you're not first, then you are again disrespecting yourself, and you're going to let everybody else control your life, and you're going to feel depleted and drained and unfulfilled. And you only get one life, and you never know when it's going to end. So you need to be happy and quit letting people suck the life out of you. This is your life. You deserve to be happy, and there is 0 point in letting your entire life go by with you being not only abused and emotionally manipulated and all of these things, but like, why waste it begging somebody to treat you right and act right and waiting for them to do the things you're asking, when I promise you that there is somebody who will treat you right without you even having to ask. There's how many billions of people in this world? You think that this one person who you're constantly fighting with every day and begging for the bare minimum is worth it? Promise you they are not. I promise you that nobody on this planet's worth that. And if I could go back in time and tell myself one thing, that would be the one. Nobody is worth that. But with that being said, I do want to say that I do not want anybody watching this to think I should have left sooner, or, I wish I would have done this. I see this now in hindsight. Me too. I get it. But you know what? There's a purpose for everything. And the longer that you were in that relationship, the more that you learned. Everything that I've learned from my toxic relationships, I get to take now and teach other people what I've learned, and hopefully prevent them from staying in theirs as long as I did, or prevent them from getting into them altogether. So mine were a blessing because I am meant to teach, and I get to use what I went through to teach others. And I'm only 27. I don't feel like I wasted my life. When everything first happened, I did feel like I wish I would have left sooner and all of these things, but I know there's a reason for everything, and everybody has a divine path, and everything is, we all have a life that is supposed to happen. So I feel like there's a reason for everything. Don't feel like you're doing something wrong by waiting so long to leave. I mean, obviously, like, if you're seeing this, I'm telling you right now, leave. Now is the time. But if you just left a relationship or, whatever, don't look back at it and say, oh, I should have left sooner. I should have done this. I don't want you to think that. Like I said, there is a purpose for everything. So there is a reason. There was some lesson you needed to learn at some point in time. So there's a reason for everything. You're out now, and that's what matters. You're safe now, and that's what matters. But take what you learned from it and don't repeat it. With all of that being said, I do want to say that there's help out there, whether you're stuck now, whether you have lasting effects from your previous relationship, maybe PTSD, depression, anything like that. There is help out there. Please don't hesitate to get help. I'm going to put some resources down below. If you have any advice on any of this, please leave it in the comments. I would love to share some in the comments below. Other than that, I would love to see you in the next one. Bye.